In 2023, it was announced that all the members of BTS signed a new contract with their label Big Hit Music starting in 2025. This confirms the reunion after their military service. But I don't think a lot of people, fans or not, are truly grasping the idea of how big of a cultural phenomenon this comeback is going to be. I'm sensing that fans in the industry are expecting or predicting BTS to go back to their 2020-2021 popularity at best. Many talk about this comeback as a regular comeback, in the K-pop sense of the word. But that ignores a lot of context. So I would love to start a conversation based on a very realistic analysis of this new context. And I wanted to do this video now because we're less than a year away from seeing all the members as a group again. But at the same time, we don't have a lot of hints of what their comeback project and promotions are going to be like. So it's easier for us to recognize what it's definitely going to happen and not get excited by hints and clues they may give. I can hope for a lot of extraordinary things as a fan. But for this conversation, I believe it's important to get the same conclusions even non-fans can come to, because as fans, we may always be looking for the best scenario. However, you'll see that by analyzing the most simple aspects of BTS's popularity, we may still see a comeback that it's too big to even process right now. We just need to look at previous numbers, the new image their solo careers has given them, and the overall culture surrounding comebacks. I don't mean comeback in the K-pop sense. I mean comeback as it is understood in the Western music industry, which is the first release after a hiatus period. BTS is on a group hiatus because of their military service, so they are going to have their first comeback. This simple fact is already a big deal. There is a difference between popularity and cultural impact. For the past years, BTS has been both popular and culturally impactful, but not in the exact ways every fan may recognize. For example, the name of a musical artist can be culturally impactful, but they may have music or one song that is popular at best. The same way, a song can be culturally impactful, but the name of the artist who sings the song may only be considered popular during a certain period of time or for a certain audience. With this in mind, let's recognize BTS's popularity and cultural impact. BTS's most mainstream global releases are Dynamite, Butter, and My Universe. But let's focus only on Dynamite and Butter, because My Universe is a collaboration. Let's not sugarcoat this and make this very realistic. The general public knows three things about BTS: their name, their fans, and their two biggest hits. The general public knows the existence of BTS as a group. The general public knows BTS has a big fandom. And the general public knows the songs Dynamite and Butter. Some do know these songs are BTS's songs, and others simply recognize these songs and know the existence of BTS, but don't necessarily correlate them. But at the end of the day, BTS as a name is well known, and Dynamite and Butter as songs are well known. These songs were on commercials, on the radio, on TV shows, on movies, stayed on the #1 position on the charts for weeks, and received Grammy nominations. After this, BTS released their See You Later project for fans, and then they started their solo era. The solo era has not only maintained BTS's name out there, but it has also improved BTS's image. This improved image is important because now not only their name and a couple of songs are going to be culturally impactful. Now there is an actual possibility for the general public to recognize BTS as a strong, culturally impactful musical act, not just a recognizable name with a couple of songs that not everyone can correlate. In my opinion, the solo projects have made BTS's upcoming comeback not only undeniably popular, but also, I predict, a bigger cultural impact than BTS quote-unquote at their peak. I mean this in terms of both numbers and reception. Even as solo artists and with minimal promotions, during this hiatus, the BTS members have been able to still get #1 songs. They've gotten truly viral TikTok songs. They've gotten more positive reviews than ever. And they've also been taken more seriously by the public. Sure, the cultural impact the solo projects have are not the exact same as with Dynamite and Butter, but the few details that these two songs were missing, the solo projects complemented them. People said BTS could only get #1 songs as a group because of their boy band fandom, but their solo projects proved this wrong. People said Dynamite and Butter were commercial mainstream, but they couldn't get a real TikTok hit. but Jungkook's solo project became a true TikTok hit. People doubted that a BTS Korean album could ever be critically acclaimed. But RM's solo Korean album is now basically in every album of the year list. People said that only BTS fans listen to BTS music, but thanks to J-Hope's collaborations and RM's album of the year list appearances, now the most critical music fans are actually approving BTS projects. All of these new aspects make BTS a more quote-unquote serious musical act, not just an impactful name with an impactful fandom and impactful couple of songs. No, an impactful musical act, impactful musical artists. Even the point about having a true TikTok hit makes the public unable to even say, how is this song so big if I never listened to it? Now the cultural relevance can be inescapable. And yes, they did all of this with minimal promotions.
Give it up for Jimin, Jungkook, Suga as August D.
If you think that the promotions for Jungkook's Golden were a lot, you have not really paid attention to the real promotion schedules by Western artists. We don't know what style of promotions BTS will have for this comeback. My personal guess and hope is that they will go back to the Boy With Love style of promotions, because they've mentioned that these specific promotion activities were part of their dream come true promotion schedule.
난 전은씨 약간 그 미국 활동 SNL 그때가 재밌었어. 네, 재밌었어. 투어도 하고 스타디움 투어하고 가장 꿈에 근접한 활동이었지.
The Boy With Love promotion schedule was stronger than Golden's promotions, but calmer than the Dynamite and Butter promotions. However, even if they go extremely minimal, like Jimin for example, who had one single interview in an American TV show, I'm still sure BTS's next comeback will have better reception and numbers. I mean, I love Yet to Come as much as the next ARMY, but if a non-mainstream, not promoted Korean song like Yet to Come is getting a Grammy nomination during hiatus, I can most certainly predict that BTS as a group is at least in the minds of the industry, and a real comeback will be successful no matter what. This is another important aspect. We need to pay attention at how pop culture treats big comebacks like this.
And that comeback, Robin, could be massive.
They do have a faithful following.
I remember that in 2022, when the news of BTS's military service and hiatus broke, some of the general public and even the media associated this moment with Elvis Presley's military service and hiatus.
You really do have to go back to Elvis Presley to think of a pop music act of this magnitude putting on the brakes and entering the military at the absolute peak of their popularity.
Many mentioned how Elvis's hiatus, military service, and comeback improved his image, expanded his appeal to a broader audience, and made him even more popular. And if BTS is saying the truth about coming back as a group, they can have the attention of the news of a celebrity coming back after going to the army. Just like Elvis Presley. This was back when there was no 2025 contract, so the media was still very unsure if they were actually coming back. However, I don't think the metrics of Elvis Presley's hiatus and comeback are the same as BTS's hiatus and comeback. The music industry is vastly different now than what it was in the 1960s, and I don't believe BTS's upcoming album can be compared to Elvis Presley's Elvis Is Back comeback album. However, the fact that this association was even mentioned by the Western general public as soon as the news of BTS's military service and hiatus broke shows that comebacks are still a big deal in pop culture today. I think it's more appropriate to look at an example from this century and from a group, because the dynamics of a group and a soloist are different. The Jonas Brothers were not as big as BTS as a global cultural phenomenon. The kids who grew up during their Disney Channel era can definitely recognize some of their most popular songs, but the group couldn't really establish a mainstream song that your parents or non-Disney kids could recognize from the radio in any part of the world, like Dynamite, Butter, and songs from other mainstream groups like One Direction. Don't get me wrong, the Jonas Brothers had a lot of fans, but not enough to have worldwide stadium tours like BTS. Despite this, when the Jonas Brothers had their big comeback with the song Sucker in 2019, for the first time ever, they got a Hot 100 #1 and one of their songs finally received a Grammy nomination. Even people who didn't listen to the Jonas Brothers knew that the Jonas Brothers were having a comeback. This is because comebacks are exciting for the music industry. comebacks after a period of hiatus are a huge topic of interest in pop culture. Even if the comeback song is not revolutionary or unique, the simple fact of it being a comeback song makes it newsworthy. Just like the news of a hiatus, the media will talk about the news of a comeback. So promotions or not, there will be articles, there will be reviews, and there will be numbers. If the comeback of the Jonas Brothers had such a big impact, imagine what BTS's comeback can achieve. BTS already has #1 songs in English and Korean. BTS already received multiple Grammy nominations while promoting and during hiatus. In other words, soccer gave the Jonas Brothers all the numbers, visibility, and success a comeback era can offer. But BTS already went through their soccer era in terms of success back in 2020, so the benefits of a comeback era will be bigger for BTS than for the Jonas Brothers. This is what I mean by the inescapable success of BTS's comeback. At the end of the day, promotions or not, and whether the project is in Korean or English, the big question is still, what exactly are they going to release? What style of music will they go with next? I remember that the conversations when BTS were first leaving for the military were focused on a shift on their music. This shift was expected to be more mature and maybe have less or no dancing at all. Then Bang PD said that the BTS members were planning to release a special project for the 10th year anniversary of the most beautiful moment in life, whether they sign again with HYBE or whether they sign with other label.
We said to each other, let's make sure we put out a 10-year anniversary album and a project. If they hadn't signed with us, they still would have released it, just not with us. They would have done it with somebody else. This is the first time that I am mentioning in public that there is going to be a 10-year anniversary in a project.
Bang PD also mentioned that BTS wanted their absence as a group in the music industry to be a turning point in their careers.
2018년 초반부터였고 상당히 긴 시간을 준비해왔고 최근에도 그것에 대한 논의를 하고 있기 때문에 커리어의 전환점으로 삼자라는 얘기는 굉장히 오래전부터 준비가 되어 있었습니다. 그 다음에 영원히 지금의 BTS로 남아있을 수 없고 아티스트의 성장에 따라서 음악적인 변화, 여러 가지 변화들이 필요한데
Until recently, the BTS members were still mentioning that this project is a priority for them.
저희끼리 얘기했던 것 중에 어쨌든 2025년 대부분의 멤버들이 복귀할 해일 거고 그다음에 이제 화양연화라는 저희의 기념비적인 어떤 회사가 10주년이 되는 해이기 때문에 화양연화가 10주년이 돌아오니까 그때는 무언가를 할 수 있을 것 같지도 않을까 뭐 이런 생각을 했었잖아요. 그것들을 좀 잘 지키려고 노력하지 않을까.
These are strong signs that the predictions of a lot of ARMYs at the beginning of the hiatus were true. A project like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life may be more serious in terms of production and songwriting. It may have mostly R&B and alternative songs, and it may also be in Korean only. However, during the hiatus/solo era, a lot of things have changed. More than change, I think they have progressed. To start, many of the BTS members who fans may think were not comfortable singing in English chose to release solo songs and albums in English. And I truly love Dynamite and Butter, but the recent English projects are much more stronger. In other words, growing artistically does not necessarily mean going alternative and non-mainstream and serious, which is what I saw a lot of ARMYs predict at the very beginning of the hiatus. The same applies to the choreography aspect. There were some ARMYs making comments about BTS not dancing anymore because they cannot do choreographies forever, and maybe they are tired of it. But during the hiatus/solo era, we saw all the members dance, including members who have this stereotype that they are not as comfortable dancing. Suga had a choreography for his lead single. Jin danced on stage one day after his military discharge. RM danced for a collaboration. He also kind of danced around for one of his music videos. And most importantly, he continued practicing dance. So did V. He is still dancing while in the military. My point is that just because Bang PD said that the BTS members wanted this hiatus to create a shift in their careers and maybe be taken more seriously, it doesn't mean that they will fully stop all the aspects that makes them a fun mainstream group. They can still do music in English with choreographies and be taken a lot more seriously. And they can also release a calmer album like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life and go mainstream with it. During this hiatus, and thanks to TikTok, songs in Korean, Japanese, and many other non-English languages have gone mainstream, so the language barrier is not as big of an obstacle anymore, at least not for the general public. Being taken seriously with a non-English project is another barrier that BTS has already started to break, and I think a comeback label can finish the job. At this point, the success and cultural impact of any type of comeback project from BTS is inescapable. Every hint BTS has given about their upcoming comeback includes some sort of promotion, starting with the fact that some members are going to the military 3 or 4 years earlier than they should. I don't think this big of a sacrifice that no one in the industry has done before will come with mediocre promotions.
상당히 긴 시간을 준비해왔고 최근에도 그것에 대한 논의를 하고 있기 때문에
However, on the other side of the argument, BTS has mentioned again and again that the first thing they want to do is a 10th year anniversary project for the most beautiful moment in life. Who knows, maybe we'll get both a mainstream English project and a fandom-focused Korean project. At this point, we may even get a new type of mainstream Korean project. Whatever it is, everything suggests that it will be too big to even process right now. The word comeback will be attached to the project, and that is enough for it to be a headline and considered for awards. Just look at everything they've achieved with non-mainstream projects, with no promotions and during hiatus. Of course, there are certain achievements that I can hope for, but I'm not sure they will happen because certain parts of the industry are unpredictable. I'm not even going to talk about my hopes or what I wish could happen. I'm talking about the inescapable. And at this point, the inescapable is cultural impact. People will know about the existence of this comeback just because it's a comeback from a recognizable name. We don't even know what the project is going to sound like, but I know for sure that it will achieve many of the dreams Chapter 1 BTS and ARMY did not even think could come true.